Images of chaos and desperation continue to emerge from Afghanistan. India has managed to evacuate all the officials from its embassy in Kabul. And just a short while back, an Indian Air Force aircraft brought back Indian nationals from Kabul. It initially landed in Jamnagar and is now on its way to the Hindon Air Base. Now, only 3 embassies are operating in Kabul, and those are Russia, China, and Pakistan. The rest of the missions have already vacated themselves from Afghanistan. So these are the developments coming in. The world, of course, has started reacting to the situation, with the countries making their official statements at the UN as well on the developing situation in Afghanistan. I'm now joined by Mr. Anil Triguniat. Ambassador Anil Triguniat is a former diplomat. He's joining me right now on the program. Good afternoon, Ambassador Triguniat. Good to have you again. Right now, again, things have moved from when we last spoke. Of course, it's literally day 3 after the takeover of the Taliban on Sunday. India's concerns of evacuating its nationals seems to be the priority at the moment. But what else would you say are the concerns for the country? Because we are seeing, and we are saying it in no uncertain terms, that China and Russia has extended support. And I just mentioned that these are the 2 embassies that have not vacated. They do not intend to vacate. And Pakistan, as we all know, has always been on the same side. Where does that leave us, Ambassador Triguniat?
Well, you are so right. In fact, the Russians and the Chinese and the Pakistanis have been talking to them for quite some time, and so are the Americans. In fact, the US statement is also quite unequivocal that if they follow certain red lines, I think that it will be possible for the Americans to get back. And they were the first ones to actually legitimize them by signing an agreement, which is called Doha Agreement during the Trump's time. As far as India is concerned, that India has not openly either denied the existence of Taliban, considered Taliban as an Afghan force, but wanted them to work within the constitutional provisions and for the as an Afghan controlled peace process or Afghan led peace process, it would be a part of it. That has been there. Of course, we do not have direct overt connection, but in the recent past, I believe that there have been some instances of interactions with them, which any state would like to have. I'm sure Indians do have to. But at the same time, the Taliban's statements, as far
Yes.
as the India's capacity building assistance is concerned, have been very positive. The positive in the sense is they like what India has done so far. They are not against it. They would rather continue with that eventually. They would expect that. And India in the United Nations Security Council has also made very legitimate points. It has not finger pointed on anyone. It has not even named Taliban by that name. But it has asked that there should be the humanitarian situation must be addressed. There should be no problem. I mean, as far as the terror groups are concerned, they should be taken care of, and the Taliban should, or whichever power is there, there should be inclusive government. So if all that thing is happening, I think the international community will
Yes.
eventually come around. And I believe that so far, what we are seeing, Taliban, although all kinds of reports are coming, which is very normal in a warlike situation, but Taliban officially, in fact, is showing a significant restraint. And I just saw a Tolo News article where, I mean, a report, a tweet,
Right.
where one of the ladies was actually interviewing, and they said it has never happened in 20 years, so this is change. So I think the people are also beginning to say, but at the same time, there is a tremendous fear among the people of the return of the old Taliban and their own philosophy. As far as India is concerned, right now, how the situation thing. Because there is no point doing anything. We have evacuated our embassy. Whatever people are left, we have created some kind of an e-visa system for them, and they can be evacuated eventually as long as the Americans are controlling the airbase and the Afghans are being allowed to leave also.
Yes, absolutely. The Taliban has announced amnesty. It has urged women to join the government. It is making a reconciliatory tone at the moment, and other countries, including the European Union, has now sounded off concerns. The humanitarian crisis is one of the major issues that most countries are flagging off. Stay with us, Ambassador Trigunet. I'll come back to you. Just a couple of breaking news inputs coming in at the moment. A Taliban official has announced a general amnesty for all in Afghanistan and urged women to join its government. Inamullah Samanjani, member of the Islamic Emirates Cultural Commission, made these comments on Tuesday on Afghan state television, which is now under the Taliban control. The Islamic Emirate do not want women to be victims, he said, using the militant's term for Afghanistan. Anil Trigunet, at this point, of course, one of the concerns which probably the Taliban are aware is that whether women will be safe under their rule, given the antecedents, given their track record in the previous rule. Ambassador Trigunet, what are your concerns? Will it be a society where women can have equal rights? Will the Taliban change its ways? Are you convinced with the statements coming in just now?
No, I think the Taliban has also become, as I said earlier, the Taliban has become very smart as far as its public projection is concerned. It is communicating extremely well. But it also a philosophy, a religious tenet, which has its own. I mean, the first they issued was let the women go to protected places, and most of the even one of the CNN or some one of their I think anchors or someone we saw or the correspondents who was going there full burqa and all that. So I think that what will happen is that you will see that definitely cut down in the freedoms as far as women are concerned, but they may be allowed to go to school, they may be allowed to work. But that is possible. But at the same time, you might see something like a bit of a Saudi kind of thing rather than in a very highly extreme, maybe in Kabul city. I don't know about what will happen in the rest of the country because we don't know much about from their reports that. But at the moment, the focus is in Kabul, and Americans have also told them that the women, safety of the women and their rights are paramount in their own negotiation when they are going to recognize Taliban as leader. But whether we like it or not, today Taliban is a reality, and they have a certain philosophical, religious kind of a bent of a mind and the philosophy. They are not going to abdicate that just to please somebody else. But there would definitely be, as of today, I can say I do not know what will happen tomorrow. But as of today, Taliban is trying to, please the international extent.
Because, Ambassador Trigunet, there is nothing to hold them to it, isn't it? There is no peace accord signed. There is no settlement done. The Americans were in a tearing hurry to pull all stops. So that leaves the Taliban completely, the Afghan residents completely at their mercy. There is no such official document that has been internationally agreed upon on how the Taliban should operate. Do you see that as a major cause of concern? The fact that there was no peaceful settlement, which the Americans kept promising all this while, it never really came to it. Without any such accord, all stops were pulled by the US.
No, that is, the US only signed the Doha agreement in which they tried to put in quite a few things that they wanted. But there is an agreement, but that agreement is how far? I mean, that most of the time such regimes can always violate those agreements. And in fact, the more responsible countries have violated their agreements. We have seen the Trump walking out of the Iranian nuclear deal, which was signed by so many countries. So there is... the agreements are there, but they are there for the countries that are willing to accept their international responsibility. But what Taliban has probably learned during this time, and maybe, we can't, in this case, we know what it is actually it has done, what kind of, if the Afghans are fearful of them so much and the international community is so much concerned, then Taliban has a lot of homework to do. I mean, I think they have to come out clean on what exactly they are going to do. Precisely what your report was there, and the amnesty for all the people who are working for the Afghan government before is a good sign actually. But in practice, it's going to happen or it will not happen because see, in this age of social media today, it is very difficult to verify what is truth or what is not the truth because people of all kinds who are also spreading all kinds of rumors about good things. We have to be cautious about it. But Taliban has a lot more to do and to prove that they really want to work. I think that nobody can force, the world cannot force upon them the democracy as it is known in the West. They have their own system of Shura Council. They will adhere to that.
Yes,
So
this
today
is a country
you are
that
watching
has
in
lived in a democratic setup for the last 2 decades.
UN
So
Security
how will the transition now happen to the Taliban rule? What kind of policies will the Taliban adopt? That remains to be seen. Ambassador Triguniat, appreciate your joining us this afternoon with your views on the subject. Okay, now let's talk about the fact that the Indian embassy in Kabul has been completely evacuated. The ambassador and all staff members have been brought home. Nearly 180 Indians have been airlifted and brought home safely in the last 2 days. Just a short while back, an Indian Air Force aircraft has landed in Jamnagar with 140 government staffers from Kabul. The flight is now expected to reach the Hindon Air Base shortly. India has also set up an emergency helpline for those stranded in Afghanistan and those who want to come back home.
Well, it was very complex because, as you know, the Islamic Republic of Afghanistan no longer exists, and the situation is quite fluid now. And thank you, of course, to the Indian Air Force, who flew us out under conditions that are not normal, and of course is hosting us here after a long, tiresome journey. Thank you very much.
Well, as reports suggest that there are still a number of Indians stranded in Afghanistan, efforts are on to provide them assistance. Several Indian nationals are stuck there as the situation remains grim post the Taliban takeover. Times Network's Ishan spoke to Dr. Muhammad Asif Shah, who is an associate professor of economics at the Bakhtar University. He has booked a ticket for tomorrow, even as commercial flights remain suspended. He, along with other Indian nationals, are in touch with the Indian embassy seeking an early evacuation.
Several people have been left stranded in Afghanistan and they are demanding their early evacuation back to India. I have with me Professor Asif, who is among those people who are stranded in Afghanistan. Asif, can you tell us about the situation there right now?
Alhamdulillah, the situation is good. We are inside the university campus, as you can see on the backside also, you can see. We are inside the campus, so alhamdulillah, here there is nothing to worry inside campus. Outside we don't know because we have not been outside the gate. So what is the scenario outside? We are not clear about that, sir.
So what do you want? You want to come back? You want your early evacuation?
Yes, we had already booked our ticket yesterday. We had a flight, but unfortunately, the scenario which happened in the airport, there was a stampede, and unfortunately, all the commercial flights were cancelled later on. So right now, we have again booked for tomorrow, Wednesday. We have a flight. Let us see what happens, whether it will be on schedule or no. If it is on schedule, so inshallah, we'll be trying to evacuate as soon as possible. And we are in contact with the Indian embassy also. There is no information about our evacuation. As it will come, inshallah, I will share that information too with you, and we are in a hurry, yes, and we wish that we should leave the city as soon as possible.
So are you in touch with other people there who want to come back?
Yes, we have here, I think we have got added to a WhatsApp group, those who are stuck here, Indians. We are more than 30 people here in that group. I don't know about more than that. There may be not in contact still now, but in that group we are more than 30 people. We are Muslims, non-Muslims, both of us. Indians and some Afghan nationals as well who are married. They have their spouses in India, or though they are Indian nationals and married here.
Well, at the moment, there are Indians who are stranded at the Kabul airport as well, waiting for their turn to board an aircraft. Now, they reveal that they have nowhere to go. They have not received any communication on when the flight operations will restart. Remember, commercial flights are suspended at the Kabul airport.
यहाँ पे आप मेरे पीछे देख रहे हैं, सारे इंडियंस बैठे हुए हैं। अभी हम लोग बाहर भी नहीं जा सकते हैं, यहाँ पे फायरिंग हो रही है और अंदर चोर वगैरह, लुटेरे वगैरह घूम रहे हैं, तो क्योंकि यहाँ पे चोरी वगैरह होने के भी डर है। बाहर जा नहीं सकते हैं क्योंकि बाहर बहुत भीड़ है और फायरिंग भी हो रही है। अभी एयर इंडिया कब आ रही है हमें कुछ नहीं पता। 12:30 बजे का टाइम दिया था, एम्बेसी फ़ोन नहीं उठा रही है, कोई हमारे पास इन्फॉर्मेशन नहीं है और 4 लाख लोग बाहर खड़े हुए हैं। अब हमें समझ में नहीं आ रहा हम क्या करें, प्लीज़ आप लोग हेल्प कीजिए।